My name is Stephen James. I'm the station manager here at KDHR.
Why did you decide to get into radio?
Decided to want to get into radio right out of high school. I was doing a lot of journalism, more print journalism. I wrote for the school newspaper, was even the editor-in-chief for a year, and wanted to find a new way to branch out into that direction. So when I got to this campus, they told me about the radio station. They originally told me that it had some cool broadcasting concepts, namely doing sports broadcasting for baseball, basketball, and even soccer. So found an application, applied to be a volunteer to do a radio show at first, and just a couple months after that applied to be a student assistant, and have been working here ever since.
And what's your position now?
Position now is station manager, but when I was first hired it was student assistant.
Okay, why didn't you go into the journalism route?
When I was in high school, I needed something that basically looked good on college applications. At the time, I was just doing a lot of the basic, history, math classes. The counselor suggested that if you're good at writing, which I was, to do journalism class in high school. So I did that, really enjoyed it, and then continued doing it with radio.
And what's your favorite aspect about being station manager at KDHR?
My favorite aspect is probably working with the different students and specifically the interns here. Just because it's really fun to bring people in, for them to tell me that this is their skill set here, and then by the end of the semester their skill sets improve pretty dramatically. So that's a lot of fun. And I always joke about during the interview process that my goal is to get them a better job than what I have, and they can hire me later on in life.
So why don't you explain to me how the broadcaster works for a little?
So when Sam Broadcaster was started, the company's whole idea was to get this new technology out back when internet was still kind of controversial. Not many people knew, not everybody had internet in their house at the time, and not everybody knew exactly what its capabilities were. So they decided, the company being Spatial Audio, or Spatial Net nowadays, but they decided they would make a program that you could just stream all your internet stuff from online. So around that time, a lot of independent radio stations, or what was called pirate radio at the time, was becoming really big, and that has streamed into just mainstream radio nowadays. So the way the program works is we give it a set of instructions or rules to go off of. So we tell it play certain genres, play certain promotions, play certain commercials, all this other stuff, and it decides, okay, so based on these parameters, these are the most likely songs you might be looking for, and then it makes radio programming from there. So we can tell it not to play the same artist back to back, we can tell it not to play the same genre during certain hours. It's really customizable and really great, because when the station is closed up at 2, 3 in the morning, this thing is still running and still playing music. In addition to that, when students are ready to broadcast live, it just detects a signal from another version of Sam Broadcaster, and then it just ships that out live and people can listen to it wherever. That's how this works.
Yeah, how this signal goes back to the other one.
So the way Sam Broadcaster in the actual broadcast studio works out is we have what's called an encoder. Basically takes a signal, turns it into a digital file, at the same time broadcasting the signal. That encoder is tied into our server, which is where the actual internet address is located. And then once that internet address detects that there's a signal coming in from here, the computer in my office is able to tap into that signal and broadcast that to everybody else. So it's basically just a quick little relay setup.
Okay, thank you. Is there any cool facts about this room?
Cool facts. It used to belong to an IT department and then a TV studio. We kind of just got it as a hand-me-down. One thing that we like to do is these posters that are up on the wall. Anytime a relatively big-named artist comes in, we like to have them just throw something up there, they sign it. So most of the ones that are signed on this wall over here were actually guest musicians on someone's show.